becoming a Sadhvi, as the questioner says, it's a choice that we make, whether we are male and we take vows of sannyas and become sadhu or Swami. We're female, we take vows, we become Sadhvi. It's a choice that we make in line with what we know is our dharma, to commit ourselves to this life of renunciation for spirituality, of renunciation for being one with the divine, of renunciation of all else, to be able to immerse ourselves fully in that spiritual practice, in that spiritual path. It's not something that one gets taught to do. There are so many beautiful, beautiful spiritual teachers all over India, all over the world for that matter, who can help you find within yourself that experience of the truth of who you are, that experience of oneness with the divine, oneness with fullness, wholeness, completeness, oneness with love, because that is the core of who we are. That truth of who we are is love, is boundlessness, is infinity. But the choice of a path of renunciation is a decision that has to come from within. It's a choice that you will know within, this is my dharma, this is my path. Things of the world don't hold that pull on me, that appeal for me, or not nearly as much as just immersing myself fully in a life dedicated to God. But what I would say is, before you jump into that, because there's no need to jump into that, in order to live a spiritual life, in order to live a life that is expanded and true and full and the embodiment of spirituality, there's nothing that says that thou must renounce everything, or that you can't be in a family or have a job or be in the world. In fact, our scriptures are full of stories, the vast majority actually of the beings in our scriptures and all of the sacred epics and sacred stories actually are householders. There's many more of them than there are sannyasis. Even the sages and the rishis, in most cases, were householders. And that's important because there's nowhere that God says, you must renounce the world in order to be close to me. There are some of us for whom we know that's our dharma. And it's a very, very special dharma that feels to me as it was something that was given to me. But what's most important, which Lord Krishna emphasizes in the Bhagavad Gita, is you must fulfill your dharma. And it is much better, even Arjuna says, I'm going to die on this battlefield. And Lord Krishna says, maybe. Now, of course, he's God. He knew what was going to happen. We have to wait to read our first time through the Mahabharata to actually know what happens. But Bhagwan Krishna's God, he knows what's going to happen. But he doesn't say to Arjuna, don't worry. Don't worry, you're going to win this thing. Don't worry, nothing's going to happen to you. Because what he says to him instead is, it is much better to die on this battlefield in the fulfillment of your dharma than to run away and not fulfill your dharma. Or to try to fulfill someone else's dharma. Because Arjuna, of course, says, I'm just going to go to the cave, I'm going to meditate. I'll become a sadhu. And Lord Krishna says, that is not your dharma. So if you feel, our divine sister who's asked the question, if you feel that this is your dharma, to become a sadhvi, wonderful. Wonderful. You are more than welcome. Come. But you should know, you who have asked the question and the collective you who are watching, that there's no rule that this must be a choice you make. The question for you is, how can I, in my dharma, become the closest to God? Because by the way, saffron cloves, in and of themselves, don't bring you closer to God. In and of themselves, they don't grant you enlightenment or awakening or freedom from ego or freedom from ignorance. They're just kapura. It's kapura of a very special color. The color has a very special significance. But the significance is only special when we take it into our hearts and live our lives like that. And dedicate ourselves like that. So the most important question is, how can you in your life get closer and closer to God? When I first came here, and I told Puja Swamiji that I felt so blessed by all of the incredible blessings I'd been given, and I wanted to do something. I wanted to give back. I wanted to be of service. He didn't say to me, take sannyas. He didn't say to me, renounce the world. In fact, it took me 4 years of begging him to get him to even let me take sannyas, to get him to let me officially become a sadhvi. But what he told me was that he wanted 3 things from me. He wanted me, number 1, to serve the world. He said, you've been given so much. Use every minute, every moment, every ability you have, every opportunity you have to serve. And he said, number 2, get closer and closer to God every day. Every single day when you go to sleep, you should be closer to God than you were when you woke up. And he said, number 3, be happy. He said, any pain you have, any sadness you have, any grief, whatever you have, he said, just give it to me and I'll give it to Ganga. So these are the instructions of the Guru. Not renounce the world, leave everything, take off those clothes and wear saffron. But get closer to God. Serve the world. And be happy. Be happy means what? It means let go. It means let go of the nonsense, of the garbage that's polluting your mind, that's keeping you from living in happiness. It wasn't, here's a cookie, be happy for the next 5 minutes. It was, be happy all the time. And in order to be happy all the time, cookies aren't enough. You have to actually be able to let go of the garbage, of the nonsense that holds us back. So those are the instructions. I'd say start there. It's a very beautiful place to start. It's That's where I started. And by the way, even having taken sannyas, even having renounced all of that which we renounce in our vows, those three things are still what I anchor myself in every day. The celibacy, the renunciation, that comes naturally. That's actually much easier. Renouncing attachments, renouncing sensual pleasures, it's actually much easier than renouncing the stuff that keeps you from being happy. That ego, the grudges, the pain, the desires, the fears. That's the stuff that's much harder to renounce. So start there. And then if you still feel deeply that this is your path, by all means come. And even if you've decided that renunciation may not be your path, but you just want to come and get deeper and deeper on your spiritual path, still come. This is the sacred land. Whatever your spiritual dharma may be, as Puja Swamiji says, welcome home. So come.